Hello, welcome. If you're new to my channel, if you've literally just found me through this video, first of all, please stay, please listen. But also, I'd love you to explore my other videos and subscribe to my channel. So I'm Karen, or Diva Kaza, and I'm a soprano with Moebius syndrome. So what is Moebius syndrome? It's characterised by the underdevelopment of the 6th and 7th cranial nerves. So they're responsible for facial expression and eye movement, something I was born with. But actually, that isn't something, I'm not really going to talk about that per se in this video. Although what I do want to flag, if you are interested, because obviously I can imagine that parents with children with Moebius or parents with children with facial palsy may come across my video. And to read more about this, Professor Jonathan Cole wrote a whole book on Moebius and actually interviewed a few of us with the condition. The book is called The Invisible Smile. It's also co-written with another person with Moebius, Henrietta Spaulding. But the book itself, I actually feature in the book. I'm chapter 11, CATE, every second of the day. So you'll be able to read a little bit about me, but obviously not too much information. Sort of some things have changed a little bit. Anyway, the purpose of this video, really, it's not just about living with a facial difference. I think all of us at times haven't been seen, not been validated potentially. And the reason that I really wanted to do this video is that I actually had an experience. I've had a few experiences over the last 48 hours actually, which is such a strong indicator that I needed to do this video. So the first thing that happened was on Friday. So I'm recording this on Monday the 3rd of June 2024, but actually it happened on Friday. So I was on my way to Brighton and I was on the Elizabeth line and sitting in the carriage as you do, really just not doing a great deal. And a man got on the train, or at least came into our carriage, and he was a homeless man. And he had a big cardboard sign. I can't even remember what it said on it, but the first thing that struck me was the anguish in his voice. And of course, what happens when we see people like this? Not always. I mean, if I do see people when I'm on my own, I'll try and stop to at least say hello, just to acknowledge them. And sometimes I give money. It just depends. Most of the time I don't carry cash with me now. But on this particular day, on Friday, I had about £3 in cash. I was travelling to Brighton and I thought, you never know, if you need the loo, you might need some extra cash. So I just had a little bit of cash on me. Anyway, normally what happens when someone comes in the carriage in this situation, they're homeless and they're looking for money or whatever, they tend to hurry through. But this man didn't. He waited. It was very, very clear from his appearance, etc., that he'd been homeless for quite some time. And he wasn't coping, really. This was desperation. But rather than just rushing through because everyone was ignoring him, he stood firm and he was very close to me. And I had so many different emotions going through me. I wanted to give some money and I was thinking, I haven't got much. And then I thought about the reactions of other people. So there was so many mixed emotions. But he did not move. He waited and waited and waited. And it was agonizing until the person next to me, he was listening to, he had his phone and he was watching something. He had headphones on. He literally reached into his pocket and handed the man some money. I think he handed £1. The moment he did that, I did the same. I immediately gave this man £1. And from that, it set off a ripple effect. And people were literally handing him money. I've never experienced anything like it. It was so beautiful. The energy was so warm and loving. It was not that reluctant, oh, I'll just give them something and they'll move on. It was so warm. And I was so moved. And after he'd moved out of our carriage, I turned to the man next to me and I actually thanked him for giving the money first, because he was the catalyst that got everyone else to. And then obviously when I did it as well. And we started just having a very quick discussion about, you know, this, we don't know this, the background to this man. We don't know his history. And we could all be that person. Anyone, situation can change. But how many times had that man been completely ignored, not even being registered as a human? So that was the first thing that really struck me on Friday, and it was about lunchtime on Friday. It was very powerful, and I hope you listening to this story will make you perhaps reflect times when you have invalidated people. And I've done the same. I've done the same. So we're all guilty of this, but everyone, we're all equal. So that was the first thing. The second thing was I was on my way to Brighton, as I said. Got to Brighton and everyone, it was just amazing. I mean, obviously living in London, you do see lots of different people, but there wasn't that sense, there isn't that sense of warmth in London. But in Brighton, the thing that struck me most, I was travelling on public transport, was like the diversity, but also the real sense of being together. Everyone was just, I mean, this woman started chatting to me. It was just lovely. Huge, rich diversity of people. All different, all unique, but all together. It really was quite amazing. The third thing that happened was I had a dream on Friday night, and this is really spurred me on to wanting to do this video. So it's quite bizarre, one of those weird dreams that you can't explain, but the people in it were real people that I know in my life or have known in my life, with a clear message. So I was standing by a tennis court, and one of the people playing tennis was a singer I know, and they were playing tennis. All of a sudden, I heard music, and I suddenly went, oh, I've got to go. I'm singing. So I literally left the tennis court, and then when I got to where I was supposed to sing, the conductor didn't acknowledge me at all, and it's a conductor I know. And there was another singer singing my part. Again, I know the singer, so I'm being quite careful and cagey with what I say next. And this had been my experience, actually, that I was not seen. So the person at the tennis court, when I said I've got to go and sing, didn't acknowledge. Oh, yes, you must go. Just didn't even acknowledge me. And then when I got to where I was singing, both in terms of the soloist who was singing my piece, didn't acknowledge me at all, nor did the conductor. They both carried on, oblivious to me. And it made me really think about times, a lot of times, where I have been invalidated as a performer because of the way I look. And it's not just once, it's gone on a long time. But at the same time, I also remember the times where I have been hugely validated by people. And I guess the highest validation for me was when I went for the Countess of Munster Scholarship. And on the panel, the person who interviewed me was Dame Janet Baker. So whenever I feel or have felt invalidated, I do remember that. However, there have been more instances of musicians, conductors, etc., completely invalidating me. So as you know, if you have been listening to my channel, some of you will already know my background, or if you click on my information, you know that I did go to music college. It was not a good experience, not at all. One of the things that never was, I was never supported in any shape or form. So it was a very difficult experience, both the undergraduate course I did and then the postgrad course. So the reason really why I decided to do these videos was to raise awareness. And also because I'd been constantly invalidated, the stubborn side of me said, well, actually, I'm just going to sing and there is nothing you can do. And I'm quite sure, I'm really quite sure that there are people within the music industry who would be more than happy for me to disappear. But I have no intention of doing that, because that does a disservice to anyone with a visible difference trying to achieve their goals, and to be told that they can't do something purely on the way they look rather than their talent. So I'm going to keep going, but I'm slightly doing something differently now, because what I would love is to support singing teachers, both in terms of private as well as at the major music colleges. I'd love them to reach out to me. Because one of the things, it isn't just the case of having somebody being admitted to music college, or having lessons privately, because there are things that we cannot do. I mean, for instance, one of the main things that happened with me, my music teacher, my singing teacher, one of them at the academy, and I'm not going to mention their name, they were quite horrific, just used to get so irritated with me when I couldn't make the face shape, the mouth shape. Absolutely horrific. Just, yeah, I couldn't do it. In fact, that was the case, a lot of them. There was only one I've had two really brilliant teachers. My very, very first singing teacher, and then my last singing teacher. She was incredible. They never made mention about my difficulty in performing shapes. But the thing is, if you've had something all your life, you find a way around it. But at the academy and also at Trinity, no one actually took the time to talk to me about, you know, we may well have students in the future with facial palsy. How did you find your experience? Is there anything we could do differently? What would have helped you? None of that. None of that at all. And I really feel passionately that there are people probably listening to this video now who want to do a career in music and singing, and don't know where to start. And also, the more visible people like me are, the more it will get the music industry to change their perception. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it out there, one of my real big dreams is for somebody, it doesn't have to be anyone flash, but someone who's got the funding to fund a recording, I'd love to do a recording, proper recording, not just on my iPhone. And I would obviously raise funds jointly for Facial Palsy UK and Changing Faces, those two charities in particular in the UK. So I'm putting it out there. I would love somebody to fund a recording, help me, and with me. I would love to do it as a solo performer. So that would be brilliant. So if there's anyone out there, please reach out to me. Let's do this. Let's really do this. But the rest of you who are listening to this whenever you listen to it, I've got a message for all of you, because we're all unique. We all have gifts. Where have people invalidated you? Where have people not seen you? Maybe there's something that you've always wanted to do, but that one comment from a friend, family member, a teacher has stopped you. You know, maybe you're really good at art, but someone just said to you, "I don't bother," and you've given up. Maybe you're a really good cook and wanted to develop that further. Maybe you're really good with animals or people, whatever. We've all got talents. No one, and I mean no one, should invalidate you. One of the key things with the music industry, and I don't want to ramble on too much longer, but just to really say, a lot of it is led by ego. I saw this firsthand at music college, absolutely firsthand. The amount of pretension was quite extraordinary. And then afterwards, you know, when you meet other singers, "Oh, what have you done?" Blah, blah, blah. And then just reeling off stuff that they've done. But for me, my voice is a gift from God, and I know that. So it doesn't matter where I'm singing. It doesn't matter if I'm singing when I'm doing the washing up, and the only people that can hear me are those in spirit or my two cats. I'm creating something. And what I would say to you all is, don't give up on your dreams. Really, really push forward. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it's creating something. And don't let anyone put you in a box, because I'm certainly not. I think as I've got older now, I just think, well, you know, wisdom is a wonderful thing. I wouldn't have had the courage to do this video 20 years ago, but I definitely feel it's okay to do it now. And my main mission is, I really feel there should be more singers, especially with a facial difference. But the way forward is for the actual teachers, because they're the front line. They need to reach out to people such as myself and actually learn from us, because, as I said before, there was no support for me, none whatsoever. It was really terrible. You know, they clearly just, it felt as though they ticked a box to have me. You know, oh yes, in terms of diversity, yes, we've got this person, but I certainly wasn't heard. I certainly wasn't seen. And in other areas of music, I'm being quite cagey. I don't want to sort of identify people at all, but I certainly wasn't validated. I always felt, I felt not great. And obviously a lot of it was to do with how I felt about myself. And that also came down from my own mother said to me, you don't want to be known as a singer with Moebius syndrome. I'm sorry, but I do. Because whilst I don't want people to look at Moebius syndrome, what I want to say is that anyone can do this. And even somebody who cannot move their face, whose vocal apparatus is not the same, look, listen and learn. But most of all, please listen to the recordings. I love singing, and I love the fact that it moves people. I had an amazing comment actually on a video. I'm going to post a link below to my Caldara, Seb and Crudel. So I'm going to post a link below because I want you to read that comment. That comment has moved my soul. I did a similar video to this 3 years ago, sort of basically talking a little bit about my experience. But I think now is the time that I would really like to move forward and start working with singing teachers. I would like them to reach out to me, and not just singing teachers privately, but colleges, music colleges, and talk to me. How can we support singers with facial palsy in particular, or a visible difference? And also the Academy and Trinity, please reach out to me. You know, at that time, there wasn't Changing Faces, there wasn't Facial Palsy UK. But hopefully you can learn from this and you can embrace everyone. Talent should always come before experience. And I'm going to say a quote from, I think it was the great Isabel Bailey. Never sing louder than lovely. Thank you for listening this far. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.